Hi, I'm Sherry Stump. Thank you for joining me today. I'm reading from the devotional book, God's Amazing Grace by Ellen White. Today's reading is February 20 on page 59, and the title is, God's Claims Are First. In Acts chapter 5 and verse 29 we read, "We ought to obey God rather than men." The message that we have to bear is not one that we need cringe to declare. Its advocates are not to seek to cover it, to conceal its origin and purpose. As those who have made solemn vows to God and who have been commissioned as the messengers of Christ, as stewards of the mysteries of grace, we are under obligation to declare faithfully the whole counsel of God. We are not to make less prominent the special truths that have separated us from the world and made us what we are, for they are fraught with eternal interests. God has given us light in regard to the things that are now taking place, and with pen and voice we are to proclaim the truth to the world. The Sabbath is the Lord's test, and no man, be he king, priest, or ruler, is authorized to come between God and man. Those who seek to be conscience for their fellow men place themselves above God. Those who are under the influence of a false religion, who observe a spurious rest day, will set aside the most positive evidence in regard to the true Sabbath. They will try to compel men to obey the laws of their own creation, laws that are directly opposed to the law of God. The law for the observance of the first day of the week is the production of an apostate Christendom. In no case are God's people to pay it homage. The banner of truth and religious liberty held aloft by the founders of the gospel church and by God's witnesses during the centuries that have passed since then has in this last conflict been committed to our hands. We are to recognize human government as an ordinance of divine appointment and teach obedience to it as a sacred duty within its legitimate sphere. But when its claims conflict with the claims of God, we must obey God rather than men. God's word must be recognized as above all human legislation. A "thus saith the Lord" is not to be set aside for a "thus saith the church" or a "thus saith the state." The crown of Christ is to be lifted above the diadems of earthly potentates. Thank you for being with me today. In this devotional, we read that as those who have made solemn vows to God and who have been commissioned as the messengers of Christ, as stewards of the mysteries of grace, we are under obligation to declare faithfully the whole counsel of God. And it's my prayer that we will be faithful to that calling, that we will faithfully declare the whole counsel of God. And I hope you'll join me tomorrow when we'll read what it means to exchange earth for heaven. What a trade! And may God bless you abundantly, above all you can ask or think.